morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing from. This is Laura Thompson, your friendly, fabulous, feisty, fierce, and phenomenal CEO and creator of TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach. And you tune into the coffee break, and guess who I ran into? I was just sipping a little virtual coffee, and guess who walked in? Judge Sakai. How you doing, Judge Sakai?
I'm doing great, Laura. How about you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining me on my coffee break. I hate to drink coffee alone. So I understand that you're running for a very, very important position. You're a sitting judge right now, and you've been doing it for a while. But before we get started with the interview, I would like to get some biographical information from you, like where you're from, what you do, why you do it, and all that good stuff.
All right, Laura. Well, thank you for inviting me to your show. Laura, I've been a district court judge for the last 26 years.
Wow.
And within that period of time, I was what's called an associate judge on the children's court. That was a court that heard exclusively child abuse and neglect, cases involving child protective services, children that were removed from their parents and put into foster care. And I was given an opportunity to step up and run for a district court bench, the 225th District Court, in 2006. And I was able to prevail in a primary and general election. And from there, I served for 4 terms. And so just recently, Laura, I finished up 15 years, and Judge Nelson Wolff had signaled that he was going to step down as county judge.
Wow.
So I have now stepped down as a district court judge to step up to be the next county judge. And so, as you have pointed out, I have 26 years of experience. Within that period of time, I served as local administrative judge of the district courts, which is kind of like the boss judge of the district courts.
Wow.
I was also the administrative judge of children's court, and those were the innovative award-winning programs that we created there at the Bexar County Courthouse in children's court. I was proud to serve and be part of the family drug court that was created over 15 years ago, and the early childhood court, which is also known as baby court. And Laura, some of the significant innovations and award-winning recognition that I got for those specialty courts was that we worked on principles of restorative justice. We worked on putting children back with their parents. We worked bringing stakeholders and resolving the issues that these families were confronted with. A lot of these families have drug and alcohol addiction, they have mental health issues, and they have issues involving domestic and family violence. But what we've learned over the years is that the court system is the opportunity as these families come in that we can change things around, but we have to deal with their issues. We have to bring the experts in. I brought all the stakeholders in a roundtable type court system. I took off my robe to meet these people where they were at and to come up with solutions and fix their problems within their families. I was very proud that we were very successful in returning children back to their parents and really trying to create a foundation for a community, which is healthy families. So basically, in a nutshell, Laura, that's what I've been doing, and that's the reason why when Judge Wolff signaled that he was ready to retire at the end of his term, I decided to step up and to take those issues, that child-centric, that family-focused perspective that I had at the court system, the innovation, the game-changing programs, the out-of-box thinking that I bring to the bench, I want to bring to Commissioner's Court. We need to keep our families, our children, as the foundation of our community.
Wow. So you sound like a judge with a heart and with compassion for children and families in our community, and just like you said, that is so desperately needed, especially during a time like this. So I wanted to kind of educate the viewers a little bit on what is the difference between the position that you held as a district judge and a county judge.
Great question. Basically, a district court judge was a position where I had to develop the ability to listen to people. I had to give dignity and respect to all those that came into the court, and I had to enforce what's called the rule of law. In other words, that's the oath that all judges and all elected officials take. And so that was a skill set that I will bring to the county judge. Now, the question you ask is, what's the difference? The county judge, in essence, is the chief executive officer for the county.
Wow.
It's an administrative position. Certain county judges can be judges, but what Judge Wolf has done is basically be the CEO of the county, along with the county commissioners. There are 4 county commissioners, so there's a body of 5 that make the decision, basically budget decisions, appointment to the various boards that the county is responsible. But basically, the county's basic responsibility is to the courts, it's to the law enforcement, the sheriff's department, it's to the jail and the operation of the jails, it's to the hospital and the hospital district that takes care of the indigents and everybody that needs to go and get health care. And basically, and then it also involves itself in housing and workforce and in economic development and infrastructure, and it has to take care of the rural part of the county. So any part of the county, Bexar County, that's not part of San Antonio or the suburban cities falls under the jurisdiction of the Commissioner's Court. And that is something that this Commissioner's Court has to be responsible for everybody within Bexar County, but they do have to make sure that the rural area, in essence, is also taken care of too.
Wow. So it sounds like, based on your past experience and current experience, that, you really have a handle on the needs of Bexar County and the services that Bexar County offers. And that's very, very important, not to go into a position just completely cold, because that is a major position, and they have a lot of big responsibility and obligations to the citizens in the county.
Those 26 years of being a district court judge, Laura, has taught me and given me extensive experience. It's given me wisdom. It's given me a depth of knowledge. I've established outstanding character and impeccable reputation. I think one of the things as a district court judge that I bring to the county judge is the fact that I've had to learn to listen. And that is a special skill set. I have to be able to listen to all citizens of this community. I need to make sure that I have an open door policy so that everybody is heard. I also have to ensure that the process at Commissioner's Court is going to be open and transparent. And that's a guarantee I'm giving to the voters of Bexar County. I'm going to bring that skill set that I can listen, I can give dignity and respect to all those who come before the Commissioner's Court. I want to make sure that everybody understands that if they want an opportunity and if the county can provide incentives, it is going to be providing equal opportunity. We know that we have issues of economic disparity, we have inequity, we have social and racial injustice out in our community. We know during this Martin Luther King celebration that we have a lot of work to do and that this country is under attack from the various perspectives, and we just going to have strong leadership to make sure that the rights of our individuals, our citizens, especially the voting rights of seniors and disabled and those that are marginalized, we got to make sure their voices are heard, Laura.
Wow. And so those are the great points, and you sound and seem like you have a good handle on the issues. So could you tell me, what are your top 3 priorities?
Well, the top 3 is economic development, it's education, and it's infrastructure. But one of the things that sometimes people in positions of power is they want to set up bureaucracies and silos. And what I want to do is break those bureaucracies and break those silos. And what that means is we need to look at economic development, education, infrastructure in a holistic way. Economic development means, when the county gives incentives and, we want to encourage corporations to be setting up their corporate headquarters in San Antonio, we shouldn't just give incentives, credits, or financial assistance just because they bring high-paying jobs. We need to make sure that the service and labor employees of all these corporations are guaranteed a living wage, guaranteed benefits, so that they have their housing, they have their daycare, they have access to education. Education must be crucial. Now, I understand that education is not a county function. It's a legislative function out of Austin. And I'm going to be the person that has to make sure that our educational system here in Bexar County is providing equal access. And basically, I have developed a program called a Cradle to Career. We must recognize that we have to educate not only our babies, but all the way to where they go into the workforce or go to college. And we got to make sure that our educational system is strong. Infrastructure is not just roads and sewers and water lines. It's also those things such as Wi-Fi in a community. The COVID situation taught us how vulnerable our communities are when our students didn't have access to their educational system because they didn't have Wi-Fi in their homes or access to Wi-Fi. They had to go to hotspots. They had to go to the bibliothèque, county bibliothèque. They had to go to McDonald's to connect with school. And what we learned in COVID is that we lost about 15% of our youth that either are transient or they dropped out because they went to work or for whatever reason. And so we have a lot of issues in our community, but must be dealt with in a holistic way, focusing on children and families, Laura. And that's what I will bring to the table as county judge.
Wow. And I mean, you emphasized education, but you also stated that it wasn't necessarily a county issue, but it really is, because in order to develop all the things and lead families and kids down the proper path, they have to be properly educated. So it's refreshing to hear that one of your priorities is education, because that's the key, and that leads to education leads to sending better people into the workforce.
That's right.
And training people. So and training is part of education. It's not necessarily formal, but workforce training is education.
And what we know in this community is the Alamo College District has a award-winning workforce training. And not only do they have workforce training, they provide remedial courses for all their students, which means people may have literacy issues. They may have been way behind coming out of public school, so to speak, or they didn't finish. They dropped out. For whatever reason, what we need to do is partner up with the workforce. We need to partner up with the city of San Antonio. We need to partner up with Bexar County, the state of Texas, and the federal government. What the COVID is basically, although devastated us in a lot of ways, we have opportunities with all these federal dollars coming in. President Biden's Build Better Back plan and all those infrastructure dollars, but we must be smart with it, Laura, and we must see how it really focuses on children and families and those programs. We need affordable housing, Laura. We need daycare for our working parents. They need assistance. And so I learned all that from being a district court judge who heard the issues of these children and families as they came in because they got their children taken away because of abuse or neglect. But a lot of times, most of the time, it was because of neglect, because of these focal issues that I've pointed out today. Lack of housing, they're on the street. They have no daycare. So these parents need to be empowered. And that's what the next county judge must do. They must find a way to focus in and make sure our families are protected. And especially as today, I've already pointed out, we got to make sure our seniors, our disabled, our veterans are all taken care of, because it's a very tough world we live in now, Laura.
Wow. And you tuned into the Coffee Break on TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global region. I'm here with the phenomenal Judge Sakai. He is a candidate for county judge. He would be the head of the county when he takes on that position. And so can you give us a little bit more insight on why you're running again and why it's important, and what your plans are for this position?
Well, first of all, I want to ask the voters of Bexar County to support me. I've given 26 years of my experience at district court. I've explained how I have the experience, I have the depth of knowledge, I have the wisdom, the character, the reputation as a district court bench. And basically to take it over to the position of county judge, the chief executive officer for Bexar County. I've explained to you that I know how the system works. I want to break those silos. I want to make the focus to be child-centric and family-focused. I understand all the issues in regards to economic development, infrastructure, education, and how that all comes together, so to speak. And I want to bring all the stakeholders. I'm smart enough to know what I don't know, and that is, let's bring the experts. Let's rely on science. Let's rely on the experts who know how to come up with the solutions. And the bottom line is, the voters, the citizens want our elected officials to fix the problem. Quit arguing. Quit trying to, blame. Let's fix the problems, and let's make our community healthy and wiser and richer.
Wow. And so thank you, Judge. And one other thing, could you explain a little bit or tell me what your position might be on voters' rights?
We're under attack. We're under attack. And what we need to do now is, obviously, we have to work with the laws that have been passed by our state legislature. Obviously, I'm hoping that perhaps the rule of law in our federal court system or our state court system is going to fix things. But if they don't, we're going to have to educate the public and make sure that nobody is denied or hindered the right to vote. That is a fundamental right. That is a constitutional right. And under the rule of law, we've got to make sure that our seniors are disabled. Anybody who wants to vote gets to vote and isn't disallowed or disabled, so to speak, because they didn't fill out the proper paperwork. And that's what bothers me the most about the voter restrictions, is that it is going to deny voters based on some technicality. And that's a violation of their rights.
Wow. And so what should people prepare for? How should they prepare?
They just need to be educated. They need to go online, or they need to ask people. They need to call the candidates. They need to call the elections office. They need to call their elected officials and say, hey, I need help. I need to vote, and help me vote. And people can contact my campaign and go online at my website at www.judgepetersakai.com, and we'll be there to help anybody who needs help on voting.
Wow. Well, we certainly appreciate you stopping by, and I certainly appreciate you joining me for my coffee break. I hate to drink coffee alone. Like I said, Judge Sakai is vying for the county judge position. He has a wealth of knowledge and years of experience, and has developed wisdom. And the key thing that he said he's learned to listen. And sometimes that's difficult to do. When you have a lot of knowledge, it's difficult to come down on people's level and just listen and identify what the needs are. But Judge Sakai has perfected that. And so we are just super excited that you would stop by and just talk to us about your campaign. We have a few more minutes left, or a little less than 2 minutes. So if you could just give us some final remarks.
Well, first of all, let me just say thank you to Laura Thompson the opportunity to come and have coffee with you. I didn't realize today I was going to have coffee with Laura Thompson, so what a blessing. What an opportunity. The takeaway that I have here is, not only have I been able to share my views, my philosophies, the reasons why I'm asking the voters of Bexar County to support me, Laura, but it's also an opportunity to be educated. And I also have listened to you, and I've heard, what's important, and that is that we must make sure that the rights, constitutional rights of our citizens are always protected. And, we live in some really tough times. We understand that the Constitution is under attack. And if there's something that I recognized as a district court judge, is that the rule of law, the court system, the judiciary, the third branch of government was a fundamental protection of our rights. And unfortunately, that's under siege too. And so I hope that we all recognize that we must be educated, we must be involved, and the power that the people have is through their vote. And I hope that the citizens of Bexar County never, ever forget their power by voting. And so please participate in our process. Please become educated. Please learn about these candidates. And let's make sure that when you have to make a decision, it's based on who is the best, most qualified, who has the most experience, who has the most wisdom, who can make the biggest impact in our community. I hope that all voters will take that time and diligence in their right to vote.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. This is Laura Thompson. You've been tuned into The Coffee Break on TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global reach. And I've been here with the phenomenal Judge Sakai, and good luck on your bout for county judge.
Thank you, Laura.
All right. Thanks. Cheers.